Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Contessa, my lovely wife, Dr. Contessa Metcalf. And today we have an exciting show for you guys, and we want you to hold on to your seats, and we hope you're not hungry because after we finish this, you're going to be extremely hungry because we're talking to celebrity chef Jernard Wells, world renowned. He is from all over the country, but he has roots in Chicago. He has roots in Mississippi and Michigan City, Mississippi, which that's my connection right there. I'm from Michigan, and but we made a great connection on the Tom Joyner Fantastic Voyage a few years ago, and Chef has been serving it up with us since then. And he's part of the family now, and we just want you guys to give him a warm welcome, and can't wait for you guys to hear his story. It's amazing.
So we're going to have him join right now, the illustrious Chef Jernard Wells. Okay.
Pop him in, add the string.
Hey,
There we
Chef.
go. What's good?
How are you?
I look. I am feeling good. You know, it's always a blessed time whenever I get to hang with you guys, especially during these uncertain times that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
We hear you. We hear you. We hear you. Hey man, we just like you said, Chef, it's honestly our pleasure knowing you and to meet a guy with so much ambition and your story reminds me of Master P because it's always this brother with a dream and then he has an ultimate grind. And with your grind, we just want a little bit of that with us because we know you do a lot. But I just want people to know, that from great things come from dreams, and they start with a dream. So without dreams, without visions, we're pretty much nothing. And if we don't act on those dreams and visions, and I think that's where you come in because you acted on those dreams and visions, and you've made something great out of it.
And that is true. Yes.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but I just was going to say, can you just tell the people who, like your elevator pitch, who is Chef Jernard Wells? Did you teach me that term? You taught me to have an elevator pitch, right?
Yeah, what they call the 60-second elevator. next to the elevator, at the end of the day, 6-time cookbook author, relationship book author. Also outside of that, 5-time award winner. I hold the title as the 3rd best chef in the world in the seafood division in the World Foods Championship. I received several Telly Awards. Also, best chefs in the world, TV and streaming awards. But most importantly, outside of the accolades, even being an entrepreneur, because I've owned 9 restaurants over my lifespan, and I started out at 16 years old. But most importantly, just a family man. And my biggest inspiration and drive has always been to not only push myself to greatness, but push those around me to meet their potential. Maybe it was a gift that was just bestowed upon me, but I always looked at throughout my life being a young man growing up in Mississippi, even though I was born in Chicago and later moved to the South, it was a completely different view site. And I never let that change who I was as an individual. The biggest thing I always like to tell people is don't think outside of the box. Just get out of the box.
There you go. Get out of the box. And speaking of your books, we have one. You with the lovely Denise Boutte, one of our favorite actresses. I'm sorry for covering up my wife's face.
It's okay.
And this is a good read. I mean, it's a Southern modified cookbook. It's almost like verses, in a sense of when you're going through it because it's showing like the Louisiana versus the Mississippi side and the different recipes that you guys had in this book. I've tried quite a few, and you've prepared quite a few, and all have been delectable for sure. And yeah, so I just want to know, like this man is the real deal. This is one of the few books. He's wrote a relationship book, And he's also known as the celebrity chef of love. So,
Yeah.
And he got 10 kids to prove.
Hey, stop throwing extra kids on me. It's only 9. I'm
Maybe he's
retired.
seeing the future.
I'm retired. Look, I'm retired out the game, but I still like to play the sport.
I love it.
But yeah, Southern Modified was one of my latest cookbooks that Denise Boutte and I created. Amazing book. Denise, being originally from Louisiana and me growing up in Mississippi, we have so many similarities, and we thought as we became friends over the years, we thought that it would be great just to tell those stories, but at the same time, with the industry that we're in, would show people how to take yesterday's dishes and modify them for today's healthy lifestyle. And that's one of those biggest journeys, especially being in the culinary industry, that I've always been on, because it is true. And you guys being in the medical field know that health is wealth. That's one of the best wealth possessions that we can own is taking care of our temple and about what we put into it. But on that journey of going through my life, my aspiration when I first started, if anybody asked me would I be where I am today, if I knew I would be where I would, I didn't exactly know where I would be. I just knew that I would be somewhere, because as you stated earlier, a person without a vision will soon perish, and we got to have a vision. And I just learned to see beyond what was in front of me, because what I grew up, where I grew up in Mississippi, man, and Scott, it was similar to where you were from. It was Michigan City, Mississippi. The only thing we had going for ourselves was cotton fields, dirt roads, and a stoplight going through the city. But the thing is, I didn't allow that, because when you have a mind, it's dare to dream, dare to have a vision. But the thing is, having a vision is one thing, but putting it into action is another thing. And that's what I learned to tap into those. And I learned to lean on the other people, because knowledge is all around us. It's in books, it's on TV, it's in the people we meet, and we just learn how to pick those different things up. I wrote a book. I think it was my third book. I wrote a book. The name of the book was called Weight of Expectations, Losing It All to Gain Everything. And the whole gist of what Weight of Expectations was about was teaching people how to lose all of those bad habits that we pick up, that we develop, that we inherit over life. And we're going to carry weights regardless, those invisible weights, the weight I got to be something in life, the weight I got people to take care of, I got people depending on me, the weight I got bills, all these different things. But what you can do is certain weights, if you're going to carry a weight, you can determine what weight it is that you carry on your shoulders. So what I started doing was picking and choosing what weights I wanted to have on me. So if I'm going to carry a weight, hey, let's lose all those bad weights of the poverty set mentality, the mentality of thinking that, hey, just because, and I'm talking from a chef standpoint at this point, just because my great grandpa and great grandmama fed this to me, and this is how they ate and they lived their life, this is what I should be able to do. Like those things, just because we saw people doing it and operating in it, doesn't always mean that it was right. And so what I had to do was learn how to filter those weights out. Even the weight of success. What do I can ask somebody about success, and when you ask them about success, the vision is always different. What I may think of success may not be what the next person thinks of what success is. But at the end of the day, to achieve your success, you got to be willing to take a certain journey and do certain things. And if you're not willing to step up to the plate and walk that mile, you won't achieve what it is that you're trying to achieve.
I have a question for you in that same vein, because you mentioned something that I think is so important. One, that the poverty mindset. And there are numbers, of course, for every career, right? This is the average income for a chef. This is the average income for this person, right? And so we all know people who can cook well. Everybody who is in their kitchen talking about right now, I can go on YouTube and become a celebrity chef. But it's more than that.
Yes.
It's actually more. Can you tell me a little bit about two things? Number one, are you apologetic when you're around other chefs who are not so famous who are not so well known and so accomplished and have won awards, even though they think, oh, I'm the best cook I've ever, you know what I'm saying? There's a difference. So one, are you apologetic when you're around them? And then two, when you're around your family members, are you apologetic for your success? Or do you feel like you have to minimize what you've become? How do you manage this? How do you manage your celebrity life and being this award-winning guy in the sea of a lot of people who feel like they do exactly what you do? Right?
Yes. To answer that
Seriously.
question, then I elaborate on it. The answer is no, I'm not apologetic. The reason why is because everything that I have and that I've accomplished, I had to earn it. It wasn't given. And see, that's what people get things mixed up at. And they may hear me sometimes when I'm talking and I'm saying, and I always make this one statement when I say favor ain't fair and favor ain't equal. But this is the thing. There are a lot of amazing chefs out there. Great. But the thing is, and they wonder, and a lot of them may feel, hey, I can cook better than Chef Jernard. I can do all these things better than him. I can entertain better than him. I can write better than him. Who knows? And you probably can. But the thing is, favor ain't fair. Favor never has been fair, never has been equal. But what you have to be willing to do is, I was willing to put things into place and roadmaps because I had a certain desire and a determination on where I wanted to be, what I wanted to see, who I even wanted to be around. Because it's true, it's all about that. All these things play a part in your life, and it's like a puzzle. If you put yourself in a room with four poor people, guess what? 9 times out of 10, you'll be the 5th poor one. Put yourself in a room with 4 successful people, 9 times out of 10, you'll be the 5th successful, because it's a mindset, it's a thinking process, it's a synergy, and it's about who you gravitate and who you desire. While others may find other things that they desire and what they want to see, I always sought after something else that was only pleasing to me. See, I never looked to please what others like. That's even when you see my cooking shows or any kind of cooking shows. If you notice, they're completely different than what you would see normally the run of the mill ones, is because I made it a point, even with dealing with my production companies and the networks, I was going to be who I saw myself, not who you saw me as, not who you wanted me to be, but who I desire to be. So I get a sense of,
if anybody's watching on New Soul Kitchen, we got to plug that, and on Clio TV, they will know that you are you, and you are genuinely you. You're not pretending to be anybody that you're not. You're speaking in your language. You're speaking in a language that we love and understand. And earlier you said a little bit about some of them might be better than you. I don't know, man. I'd have had some of your cooking and a lot of things I'd have tasted. I'm saying, no, ain't no comparison. So, ain't no comparison. Especially on some of the seafood worlds that we do.
Yes,
so I'm gonna toot your horn. If you don't toot your horn, I'm gonna toot your horn, Chef.
And thank you. And it's also because, I'm a faith believing person, and I do also maintain a level of humbleness. And the reason why I maintain that level of humbleness, and I fight to keep that level of humbleness when I have like different people networks in my ear, is because that humbleness keeps me genuine. It keeps me, and I never want to be one of those people that when I leave out the house, I got to turn it on, or when I come in the house, I got to turn it off. If I'm the same when you see me on TV or when you meet me in person, guess what? I never have to strive to be anything else other than what you see. So then I could walk around unapologetic, because you can't say, well, I saw him on TV and he was acting this way, and then when I saw him in person, he was acting like this. No, dog. I'm the same all the way around. Even when I go after what I'm going after, and granted, when I talk about that, even with the accolades, man, I've competed in hundreds of competitions, and I've won a lot of them. As a matter of fact, and what I do is I learned in life, success comes with the open hand. When you hear the words, hey, bless me to be the lender, not the borrower, those kind of things like that means that once it flows in, it flows out. But guess what? It's called a flow. It continues to keep flowing, and you just keep increasing up on whatever it is that you're increasing and doing, because you're not allowing room for that to just overflow where you don't have room to receive anything else in. There's so many young, talented chefs out here that I've opened doors up for that half of them never, probably 90% of them never even mention my name or say that Chef Jernard opened the door for them or gave them an opportunity. But I did. And guess what? It doesn't matter whether or not that if they tell the world that Chef Jernard is who gave them an opportunity. Right. Just as long as they know and I know, that's all that matters. Because see, one of the things we learn, hey, when you do something that, look, as they say, if you do something and you expect to be rewarded publicly, that's your reward. But when you do something and you expect to be rewarded in secrecy, then you see the bountifulness of the blessings that come out. Hence, you mentioned New Soul Kitchen. Always, all the time, you better believe it. When you look at New Soul Kitchen, not only did we just wrap season 2, but hey, January the 9th at 9:30 p.m., we got my own show with just me. All of them are my shows, but this one, I say my own, is just me on there. It's New Soul Kitchen Remix. And it's me showing you how to, hey, put a new spin on. If you love takeout food, I'm showing you how to create it a fraction of the time in your home in 30 minutes or less. But these are just minuscule things on the journey. And look, before I go into the journey, I'm going to stop and let you say whatever it is you need to say.
I love that. Well, I was going to say one thing. I asked you that question for a specific reason. I remember one time we were talking about our childhood and how you can do something in life, meaning I cook out of necessity. I'm hungry and I need some food, so I cook, right? And sometimes it tastes pretty good, but that does not mean I am a chef. And so a lot of people sometimes get confused about what that means. And I would say one thing that actually makes you very different is actually more of a calling for you. You're a creative. And I would say when you think about what you experienced in your childhood, you talked about when you would wake up in the middle of the night and you would actually come up with recipes. And it's interesting because, again, a lot of people are sitting at home thinking, oh, I can do what he's doing. I'm watching this show. Just kind of like we're watching these home flip shows. People start seeing these construction shows and like, I'll go buy a house and flip it. It's not as easy as people think. You can essentially, on the cuff, create something, and that's your superpower. And you were born with it. And that's honestly just the point. You refined your skill, but it was a calling for you. And can you talk, with 2020 being now over, right? Essentially over. We made it. We survived 2020. 2021, to me, is the year of the rebirth in so many ways. 2020 was all about survival, everything that we thought was important. January 1st of 2020, we realized on December 31st that maybe those things were not as important as we thought. And we all had to kind of shift our paradigm and go back to the fundamentals of why I am who I am, why I am still here, and what is my purpose, and living on purpose. And that's what people around me living on purpose, because you're forced to be with those people all the time. So talk to me about that. Like, how did you begin, as a little kid and then get to all the way to where you are today, and just realizing that despite the people who try to push you off your path, this is your calling and this is your purpose.
And you're completely right with everything you just said. 2020 was a balancing year. That's what the numbers 2020 are the numbers 4. It's a balancing year. So if you saw things flipped upside down, and the way society, everything political, everything, it's a balancing year. 2021, we know is 7, the new beginnings. 7 times 7, 7 times 3, 21. So I'm definitely optimistic and looking forward to what 2021 has to hold. But starting off in life, I learned how to cook at the age of 10 in the kitchen with my father and just spending time. And I never knew that this seed that my father was really planting and instilling in me. I just knew I loved going in the kitchen with him. And from that, spending all that time in the kitchen with him, just cooking, it became a true love and a passion. But if anybody asked me at the time what I was going to be when I grew up, it was always I was going to be a lawyer. But it's amazing when God has a purpose and a destiny for your life, regardless of what pathway you take, is going to lead you to it. My father passed away when I turned 16. I was going to my senior year in school, and I wanted a car going to my senior year. And because, hey, I knew that if I had a car, girls would pay attention to me. Hey, I'd be able to go out on dates, that kind of thing. But of course, my mother she was a widow, single parent, and I didn't want to burden her with asking her to buy a car. I was like, hey, I figure out how to make the money and earn it myself. I had $50 from cutting yards in the neighborhood. And I was like, man, I know how to cook. My father used to cook. Everybody loved him. So maybe I'll start selling plates out of the kitchen at home. And I called my mother and pitched the idea to her. And I remember I called my mother. My mother was a nurse for the state of Mississippi. And I called her and I said, I want to open a restaurant up, Mom. And she was like, you want to open a restaurant up? How much money you got, Jernard? I was like, I got $50. She said, where you gonna open a restaurant up at with $50? I said, out of your kitchen. I only got $50. She said, what? She said, do you even know anything about restaurants? I said, yeah, I know. Spending time with my dad and seeing what he was doing, and people in the community loved his food. Maybe I could just start doing it. She was like, look, if you're going to do it, you got to do it the right way. And I'm like, what's the right way? She said, all those Webster dictionaries and encyclopedias I got in there that you don't never read, go get them and figure out how to create a business plan and then come back and see me. So here it is. I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah, everybody when they used to have that big bookshelf with all those, because we ain't had Google back then. And so I figured out how to create what it was of a business plan. I pitched it to her and she said, okay. She said, all right, so now I got to take you to get your business license. I'm like, my business license. So she took me to the local courthouse in Ashland, Mississippi. We walked in. I told them I want a business license. The people in there knew who he was. They laughed at me. I think you're a little business, man. Look at him. Look, all the little stuff they were saying. The business license was $5. They gave them to me, though. So I got the business license. My mother said, okay, now you got to go get a TB test. I went to the health department, got that. Then she said, all right, now what are you going to do as far as what are you going to sell? I said, well, I created these menus. She's like, well, where are you going to get supplies? I said, I remember you guys used to go to this place called Sam's in Memphis, Tennessee, because we only lived about 20 minutes from Memphis. She take me to Sam's. We get out in the parking lot and she say, Jernard, do you know about shipping and receiving? I said, yeah. I explained it to her. She was like, okay, how much money you got? I said, I got $45. She snatched $10 out of my hand and said, shipping and receiving ain't free. This will bring you here. Yeah.
I love it.
Transportation costs. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Got the S on the side to bring it across.
I love it. I love it.
Does she have a cooler in the back of the trunk for you? Does she have a cooler in the back?
Exactly. Well, ice and everything. I went in and bought stuff that my culinary repertoire do at that time for making bolognese, pieces from scratch, wings, things like that. That first
bolognese? That's what I'm talking about. Bolognese.
That first look.
Well, so
I went home and passed out flyers. And that first week off the $50, I made $150. So I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm really doing good. I was like, oh shoot, I pretty much tripled my money. But then I thought about it. I'm getting up and I'm passing flyers and I'm selling plates to the people in the community, construction workers. They would come by at 6 o'clock in the morning, pick up their meal to have it for lunch when they're out laying sod and roofing and stuff. So I started, and I was getting up at 5 anyway to sell them, to give them their plates. So I was like, man, since I'm getting up, I need to start having some homemade biscuits from scratch, sausage going to make it smell good, and start selling them breakfast plates. So boom, I'm upselling them. You've already brought lunch, get breakfast. You're going out there. So then I started telling half of y'all don't. Yeah. So from there, I started pitching to them, hey, buy dinner from me. So they would stop by on the way home, purchase dinner from me. By the end of the summer, from that $50, I was making $3,000 a month at 16 years old. A month. At 16 years old, selling food in my community.
So what is your advice to a kid who is like,
I want to be a chef. I'm going to be a chef. Do they need to say I'm going to be a chef or I want to be a chef? what because we talking about vision now.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about vision. I think one of the biggest things is if you desire to be a chef, then seek that. And what you do is you claim it. You speak it into existence. Speak things that aren't as they were. Just because you are where you are right now don't mean that's where you'll be next year, the year after next, or whenever you reach that plateau part of your life. The biggest thing I always like to tell people, this one word that I've always applied in my life is endurance. Endurance is one of those key words that regardless of what, you never stop. Regardless of what setbacks you have, what disappointments, you never stop, because endurance is what keeps you going. It's like the story with the turtle and the hare racing. The endurance is always what keeps you going, because the race is not always given to the swift. And I applied it to my life, because there are so many people. I've been in this culinary industry for over 20 years as a professional. And there are so many times that I've seen so many other people that appear that they excelled past me, that they achieved their goals or different things that I may have desired or thought I wanted in life before I did. But I never let that waver me. I never focus on comparison. That's one of the biggest killers in the world, is comparison. Comparison is when we start looking at what others have and we start comparing it to our life. And what we have to realize, their life is not my journey. Their life is not mine. So just because they're achieving or accomplishing or having whatever it is that they have, I don't know what they had to go through, what they had to get, what they had to deal with to achieve that. What I do know is what my journey is and what I'm expecting or what I'm looking to see or what I want to achieve out of life. And that goes into, as we talk about, we know we're going into the new year. And one of the biggest things in the new year where people kick off, or I say should kick off all the time, is vision boards. You know, vision boards is keeping that locked in, keeping those thoughts locked into your mind and keeping your eye on it. Regardless, if you can see it, it's true that you can achieve it. If there's nothing out there that, regardless of where we are in life, that our ambition, we can't achieve it. And even from being a chef, what I learned to do is diversify my platform. Just because I'm in culinary didn't mean that I always had to be behind a stove. There was so much that we could do from that, and what you have to learn. Because I'm in the culinary arts, hey, you can write books. You don't even have to work in a restaurant. You can go, like, take for instance, Kellogg's cornflakes, something that's cornflakes. Guess what they got? They got R&D chef, recipe and developers. Those are chefs that are creating the stuff that you taste, that you see on the shelves. It's some chef that's create those things. So there's so many opportunities. You can be a culinary advisor. There's so many different things that we can be in this field. But on the vision board side, and I saw you had that vision board over there, Contessa. That vision board was so key. That vision board is key to a lot of things. And because we can lock what we want and what we desire in our minds. And then life kicks in. Life kicks in and distracts you from what it is that you're trying to achieve or what it is that you were seeing, and sometimes make our vision blurred. But if you have it put in writing, or you have pictures or things like that in front of you that you see on a daily basis, even affirmations to remind you what it is that you're wanting or what it is that you're desiring, that's what keeps you on track. I started using vision boards over 15 years ago. As a matter of fact, when I wrote my first book, 88 Ways to a Heart, Cooking for Lovers from the Kitchen to the Bedroom. This is when I was a Casanova chef. I finished culinary art school, and I wanted to wear, like, Say You're Still in Love with Me squash, seductive potatoes, skinny dip shrimp cocktail, all of those. Each recipe had a love story, a love name. But I had fun with it. But this is the thing with the vision board. I took copies of the book. I put it on my vision board. I put how many copies I wanted to sell, what I wanted to see in my bank account from it. I even wrote out things like, hey, I would love for my book to be on Oprah Winfrey's show. I would love to meet Oprah. I would love to meet Tyler Perry. I had all these different things on my vision board that I was seeking to achieve. You were gonna say something?
And they all came true. And they all came true.
Yes. Listen, and that's the thing. As I put these things on my vision board, every day when I would wake up, not only did I have them on the board, but I had different affirmations on my mirror in my bathroom. So when I'm brushing my teeth, if it's certain things that I want to see, if it's certain things that I want to speak over my life, because see, what we have to understand and know is we can speak things over our life. We determine that. When we hear that it's true, the power of life or death is in the tongue, you can speak things over your life, whether good or bad. And it's about how you gear your mental state to control what it is that you say. For instance, you ain't got to walk around and if somebody asks you about some money, oh, I'm broke, I ain't got no money. No, just change what you say. Instead of saying I'm broke, I ain't got no money, I ain't got it on me right now. What you're saying is if you say you ain't got it on you right now, hey, look, I might not have it right now, but I plan to have it at some point. So it's about what you say. Instead of looking at the glass being half empty, look at it as being half full. And from that, I had these things, and I remember we received a phone call to be on Dr. Phil's show. Dr. Phil was celebrating his 1001 episode. And I remember saying he had this book called Relationship Rescue and my book 88 Ways to Heart. And they were like, oh, it's similar books that wanted me and my wife to be on the show. So I was like, all right, it ain't Oprah, which is on my vision board, but I take Dr. Phil instead. And this is a lesson. I'm gonna tell you about the lesson in a moment. So I said, ain't Oprah, but it's Dr. Phil. So yes, so they flew us out to LA to be on the show. While we in the dressing room, they're putting our makeup and stuff on, and producers come running through the building saying, Oprah's in the building, Oprah's in the building. I looked at my wife and I said, you gotta be kidding me. This can't be this can't be happening. Yes. Oh, Oprah came because come to find out, Oprah is who started Dr. Phil's show. Oprah owned the show. So see, on my vision board, I said I want to be on Oprah's show. I want to meet Oprah. Guess what? If Oprah owned Dr. Phil's show, I was on Oprah's show, and I still got a chance to meet her. And that's when I really honed in and understood when it comes to creating a vision board. Once you create the vision board and you're speaking it into existence, you have to block out of your mind how you want to receive it. See,
I was going to say, you know what's so crazy? Because I was going to say, when it comes to the vision board, it's so good and it works so powerfully that I've had things on my vision board come to fruition. And then when it got to that point, I realized it really wasn't good for me. So sometimes you'll call things into your life and then you'll see all of it play out because you did want it. You were so laser focused on your goal, you get it. And you're like, but if this does happen the way I want it to happen, it won't be a good outcome for my life. And so that's why even the vision board also helps you, because there's other aspects of your life that one thing, maybe what you want from a professional standpoint may come to fruition, but then it's going to really ruin your personal life or your spiritual life, right? Or your physical well-being. So it's so many, because again, I think about like Tom Joyner in particular. He every day was flying from coast to coast, every single day. Think about the physical manifestation of that kind of like sleep. What do you say? Got 3 or 4 hours of sleep?
Yes.
I don't want to live like that. I don't want. That's not a lack of sleep. Actually shortens your lifespan.
It does.
But sometimes you'll want things so badly, and you get to the point where, because I'm sure, and those things have happened for you too.
Yes.
That you've had to say, I wanted this, but then actually, sometimes the grass looks greener
on the other side until you get there and find out it's moody grass.
That's right.
It's funny you say that. I was just holding a conversation with my brother about this over the holiday, and I tell him, I said, I find it real funny. I said it's a lot of things that I desired and that I wanted in life, and I said when I achieved them, I just thought to myself, now what? Yeah, it was like, did I waste all this time meditating and desiring something that at the end of the day, it was like, when you get it, it's like, and it's funny you say that because over the years, I learned that. And so what I started doing, I even got one of my I even got one of my vision boards right here. Now this one right here is how I used to, if you can see it, I used to have pictures and photos and materialistic things on my board. But then I thought about it. Why seek materialistic things when you can have so much more? And these are things, as I even have a list of them, as you see this right here. Bless me with favor beyond measure. Those are things that I have on my board now. See, I learned, this is the thing. Money will get you so far, but favor will take you even further. And if you got favor, then the money and everything else will come. See, sometimes we find out that we've been asking and seeking the wrong things. See, how about if I got on my vision board, hey, bless me with that new BMW. Instead of blessing me with that new BMW, bless me with the favor, the money, the knowledge, the things to buy it instead of just bless me, so that I can do that 10 times over. See, those are the things. Like this one right here says right here. This one says, thank you for grace and favor over my partners, over my friends, over my wife. You know, those things like that. Those are things that I learned to ask for. Because see, what I did was, look, this is what I was talking about earlier. If you can see this one, look, we will live humbly to love. Like those are things that I learned to see, because what I realize is those are things that open up doors that will truly change your life. If you're working on a job, whomever's watching this, say you're not a chef, you're not a doctor, you're not a lawyer, you're working an everyday job, and you're happy and content with that, but you still want favor in your career where you are. Those are the things that give you that peace of mind, that gives you that excitement, that happiness in life. Those are the things that I learned to start seeking, because it gives you a more fulfilling life. You know, what point is it to have all the success in the world, but you have no peace? What fun is that?
And you know what's good, Chef? You mentioned a few words. You mentioned favor. You mentioned peace. You mentioned blessings. And we're in this holiday season right now. And you know, as we wrap up, we want to talk about, you know, what is the celebrity chef going to be preparing for his family? Or are you going to take a day off? How does it go for the holidays? As we wrap it up, just tell us how you're going to do these holidays, because I know we sit here debating ourselves of what we're going to have for dinner tomorrow and the next day, because it's not set in stone as of yet.
I know, right?
Other than black eyed peas. Other than black eyed peas, because you got to have black eyed peas. We black people.
Yep.
Black
eyed peas. Look, black eyed peas, collard greens, and I'm debating. I think I may do another rack of lambs. I'm gonna do the family really love. I did rack of lambs for Christmas, and they started asking all over again. So it's a toss up between rack of lamb, or I'm gonna do a crab stuffed salmon, and that's something. Yeah, because I got some fresh salmon that I need to cook up. But yeah, some salmon, stuff it with lump crab meat, and then I make a creamy Cajun sauce over the top of it, which consists of heavy cream, smoked paprika, some cream of mushroom sauce that goes in it, a little truffle sea salt over the top of it. And then I add just a note of brown sugar to it to pull out the molasses, to give it that nice sweetness. Pour that over the top of that salmon. Man, with the lump crab meat coming out of it, it's truly one of those amazing dishes that you can savor, and then once you finish eating it, you still feel nice and light with it.
That's what I'm
That's what we're
talking
talking about.
about.
Well, Chef, we know that all your handles are probably at Chef Jernard, correct?
They are. I keep it simple.
Chef Jernard, so we can find you on Instagram, we can find you on Facebook,
On
we can find
YouTube,
you on YouTube,
Yep.
Twitter, and we
TikTok.
also got, yep.
TikTok.
So we got to talk again in the new year, because if anybody's seen you and they saw you a few months ago, they'll notice that you done lost a whole lot of weight. So we got to talk about these hot dog nutraceuticals. We gonna talk about
that right there is something that definitely we want to share with them.
And
we know in January, everybody's going back into that regimen of where, hey, they need to shake off that holiday weight, that extra eating. They may have that Rona weight on them, whatever it is. Hot Dog Nutraceuticals, we have everything from the doctor's perspective to the chef's perspective. So we're not only taking care of the inside, but the outside, the whole nine. And we have an amazing assortment of things that go. I'm telling you, it's a powerhouse team behind it.
That's
right.
it.
And hey, don't forget about the virtual medical consultation that they can have with us. Well, look, Chef,
That dual MD.
That's
right.
it.
As always, it's a pleasure, brother. We appreciate you joining us right now. And we're about to wrap up. And this is Dr. Contessa, Conversation with Contessa. I'm Dr. Scott Metcalf, and we really enjoyed you here, brother. And I'm sure we're going to have you again because, 11 days, your new solo TV show comes out, and we're going to be watching it, okay?
And we're business partners,
Yes.
so we can be working together
Yes.
for decades and decades to come.
Better believe it. Hey, pretty soon, guys, I'm going to be down to Scott's size.
I love it.
I'm trying to build it up, so we're going. Let's go. Let's be in the middle right there.
And everybody, make sure you guys get your gratitude jar. You didn't know what this was, but this is our gratitude jar to go along with our vision board, because you got to learn how to say thank you. Talk about gratitude for what you have. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Happy
Somebody
New
said,
Year.
good evening, beautiful people, a great conversation. We appreciate you. We appreciate all the comments that were sent to us. And you guys have a wonderful day. God bless and happy rest of your holidays.
Peace, wealth, health, and outstanding blessings.
Yes.
In 2021.
Sarate Wadata.
That's it.
I love that. Pootatang.